Hi guys, I'm back. Today I'm going to read Deuteronomy 16 to 21, Proverbs 1, and Psalm 99. Let's get started. Observe the month of Abib and keep the Passover to the Lord your God. For in the month of Abib, the Lord your God brought you out of Egypt by night. And you shall offer the Passover sacrifice to the Lord your God from the flock or the herd, at the place that the Lord will choose, to make his name dwell there. You shall eat no leavened bread with it. 7 days you shall eat it with unleavened bread, the bread of affliction. For you came out of the land of Egypt in haste, that all the days of your life you may remember the day when you came out of the land of Egypt. No leaven shall be seen with you in all your territory for 7 days, nor shall any of the flesh that you sacrifice on the evening of the first day remain all night until morning. You may not offer the Passover sacrifice within any of your towns that the Lord your God is giving you, but at the place that the Lord your God will choose, to make his name dwell there. There you shall offer the Passover sacrifice in the evening at sunset, at the time you came out of Egypt. And you shall cook it and eat it at the place that the Lord your God will choose. And in the morning you shall turn and go to your tents. For 6 days you shall eat unleavened bread. And on the 7th day there shall be a solemn assembly to the Lord your God. You shall do no work on it. You shall count 7 weeks, beginning to count the 7 weeks from the time the sickle is first put to the standing grain. And you shall keep the feast of weeks to the Lord your God, with the tribute of a freewill offering from your hand, which you shall give as the Lord your God blesses you. And you shall rejoice before the Lord your God, you and your son and your daughter, your male servant and your female servant, the Levite who is within the towns, your towns, the sojourner, the fatherless, and the widow who are among you, at the place that the Lord your God will choose, to make his name dwell there. You shall remember that you were a slave in Egypt, and you shall be careful to observe these statutes. You shall keep the feast of booths 7 days, and you have gathered in the produce from your threshing floor and your winepress. You shall rejoice in your feast, you and your son and your daughter, your male servant and your female servant, the Levite, the sojourner, the fatherless, and the widow who are within your tents. For 7 days you shall keep the feast to the Lord your God at the place where the Lord will choose. Because the Lord your God will bless you in all your produce and in all the work of your hands, so that you will be altogether joyful. 3 times a year all your males shall appear before the Lord your God at the place that he will choose, at the feast of unleavened bread, at the feast of weeks, and at the feast of booths. They shall not appear before the Lord empty-handed. Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessing of the Lord your God that he has given you. You shall appoint judges and officers in all your towns that the Lord your God is giving you, according to your tribes, and they shall judge the people with righteous judgment. You shall not pervert justice. You shall not show partiality, and you shall not accept a bribe. For a bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and subverts the cause of the righteous. Justice and only justice you shall follow, that you may live and inherit the land that the Lord your God has given you. You shall not plant any tree as an Asherah beside the altar of the Lord your God that you shall make, and you shall not set up a pillar which the Lord your God hates. You shall not sacrifice to the Lord your God. You shall not sacrifice to the Lord your God an ox or a sheep which is a blemish, any defect whatever, for that is an abomination to the Lord your God. If there is found among you, within any of your towns that the Lord your God has given you, a man or a woman who does what is evil in the sight of the Lord your God, in transgressing his covenant, and has gone and served other gods and worshipped them, or the sun or the moon, or any of the hosts of heaven, which I have forbidden, and it is told that you hear of it, then you shall inquire diligently. And if it is true and certain that such an abomination has been done in Israel, then you shall bring it out to your gates, that man or woman who has done this evil thing, and you shall stone that man or woman to death with stones. And on the evidence of two witnesses, or of 3 witnesses, the one who is to die shall be put to death. And a person shall not be put to death on the evidence of one witness. The hand of the witness shall be first against him to put him to death, and afterward by the hand of all the people. So you shall purge the evil from your midst. If any case arises requiring decision between one kind of homicide and another, one kind of legal right and another, or one kind of assault and another, any case within your towns that is too difficult for you, then you shall arise and go up to the place that the Lord your God will choose. And you shall come to the Levitical priest and to the judge who is in office in those days, and you shall consult them, and they shall declare to you the decision. And you shall do according to what they declare to you from that place that the Lord will choose. And you shall be careful to do according to all that they direct you, according to the instructions that they give you, and according to the decision which they pronounce to you, you shall do. You shall not turn aside from the verdict that they declare to you, neither to the right hand or to the left. The man who acts presumptuously by not obeying the priest who stands to minister there before the Lord your God, or the judge, that man shall die. So you shall purge their evil from Israel, and all the people shall hear and fear, and not act presumptuously again. And then you come to the land that the Lord God, your God has given you, and you possess it and dwell in it, and then say, I'll set a king over me, like all the nations that are around me. You may indeed set a king over you, whom the Lord your God will choose. One from among your brothers you shall set as king over you. You may not put a foreigner over you who is not your brother. Only he must not acquire many horses for himself, or cause the people to return to Egypt in order to acquire many horses. Since the Lord has said to you, you shall never return that way again, and he shall not acquire many wives for himself, lest his heart turn away. Nor shall he acquire for himself excess of silver and gold. And when he sits on the throne of his kingdom, he shall write for himself in a book a copy of this law, approved by the Levitical priest. And he shall be with him, and he shall read it in all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord his God by keeping all the words of this law and these statutes, and doing them, that his heart may not be lifted up above his brothers, that he may not turn aside from the commandment, either to the right hand or to the left, so that he may continue longer in his kingdom. He and his children in Israel. The Levitical priests, all the tribe of Levi, shall have no portion or inheritance with Israel. You shall eat the Lord's food offerings as their inheritance. You shall have no inheritance among their brothers, and the Lord is their inheritance, as he promised them. And this shall be the priest's due from the people, those offering the sacrifice, and whether an ox or a sheep, they shall give to the priest the shoulder and the two cheeks of the stomach, the first fruits of your grain, and of your wine and of your oil, and the first fleece of your sheep you shall give him. For the Lord your God has chosen him out of all the tribes to stand and minister in the name of the Lord, him and his sons for all time. And if a Levite comes from any of your towns out of all Israel with this, and he may come when he desires to the place that the Lord will choose, and ministers in the name of the Lord his God, like all his fellow Levites who stand to minister there before the Lord, and he may equal portions to you, besides what he receives from the sale of his patrimony. When you come into the land that the Lord your God has given you, you shall not learn to follow the abominable practices of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone who burns his son or his daughter as an offering, anyone who practices divination or tells fortunes or interprets omens, or a sorcerer or a charmer or a medium or a necromancer, or one who inquires of the dead. For whoever does these things is driving you back before you. So you shall be blameless before the Lord your God. For these nations which you are about to dismiss, listen to fortune tellers and to diviners. But as for you, the Lord your God has allowed you to do this. And the Lord your God will raise now for you a prophet like me from among you, from your brothers. To him you shall listen, just as you desired of the Lord your God, at Horeb on the day of the assembly, when you say, Let me not hear again the voice of the Lord my God, or see this great fire any more, lest I die. And the Lord said to me, They are right in what they have spoken. I will raise up for them a prophet like you from among their brothers, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak to them in all that I commanded. And whoever will not listen to my words, that he shall speak in my name, and myself will require it of him. But the prophet who presumes to speak a word in my name that I have not commanded him to speak, or who speaks in the name of other gods, that same prophet will die. And if you say in your heart, How may we know the word that the Lord has not spoken? When a prophet speaks in the name of the Lord, if the word does not come to pass or come true, that is the word that the Lord has not spoken. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously. You need not afraid of him. And the Lord your God cuts off the nations whose land the Lord your God has given you, and you dispossess them and dwell in their cities and in their houses. You shall set apart 3 cities for yourselves in the land that the Lord your God has given you to possess. You shall measure the distances and divide into 3 parts the area of the land that the Lord your God gives you as possession, so that any manslayer can flee to you. This is the provision for the manslayer, who by fleeing there may save his life. If anyone kills his neighbor unintentionally without having hated him in the past, as when someone goes into a forest with his neighbor to cut wood, and his hand swings the axe to cut down a tree, and the head slips from the handle and strikes his neighbor so that he dies, he may flee to one of their cities and live, lest the avenger of blood in hot anger pursue the manslayer and overtake him, because the way is long, and strike him fatally, though the man did not deserve to die, since he had not hated his neighbor in the past. Therefore I command you set apart 3 cities, and if the Lord your God enlarges your territory, as he has sworn to your fathers, and gives you all the land that he promised to give to your fathers, and provided you are careful to keep all this commandment, which I command you today, by loving the Lord your God, and by walking ever in his ways, and you shall add 3 other cities to these things, lest innocent blood be shed in your land that the Lord your God is giving you for an inheritance. And so the guilt of bloodshed be upon you. But if anyone hates his neighbor and lies in wait for him and attacks him and strikes him fatally so that he dies, he flees into one of these cities. But then the elders of the city shall send and take him from there, and hand him over to the avenger of blood, so that he may die. Your eye shall not pity him. You shall purge the guilt of innocent blood from Israel, so that it may be well with you. You shall not move your neighbor's landmark, which the men of old have said, in the inheritance that you hold in the land that the Lord your God is giving you to possess. A single witness shall not suffice against a person for any crime or for any wrong connected with any offense that he has committed. And only on the evidence of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall a charge be established. If a malicious witness arises to accuse a person of wrongdoing, and both parties to the dispute shall appear before the priests and judges who are in office in those days. The judges shall inquire diligently, and if the witness is a false witness and has accused his brother falsely, then you shall do to him as he has meant to do to his brother. So you shall purge the evil from your midst, and the rest shall hear and fear, and shall never again commit any such evil among you. Your eye shall not pity. It shall be life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, and foot for foot. And when you go out to war against your enemies, and see horses and chariots, and an army larger than your own, you shall not be afraid of them, for the Lord your God is with you, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt. And when you draw near to the battle, the priest shall come forward and speak to the people, and shall say to them, Hear, Israel, today you are drawing near for battle against your enemies. Let not your heart faint. Do not fear or panic or be in dread of them. The Lord your God is he who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies, to give you the victory. Then your officers shall speak to the people, saying, Is there any man who has built a new house and not dedicated to it? Let him go back to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man dedicated. Is there any man who has planted a vineyard and has not enjoyed its fruit? Let him go back to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man enjoy its fruit. And is there a man who has betrothed a wife and has not taken her? Let him go back to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man take her. And the officers shall speak further to the people and say, Is there any man who is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go back to his house, lest he make the heart of his fellows melt like his own. And when the officers have finished speaking to the people, then commanders shall be appointed at the head of the people. When you draw near to a city to fight against it, offer terms of peace to it. And if it responds to you peaceably and it opens to you, then all the people who are found in it shall do forced labor for you and shall serve you. But if it makes no peace with you, but makes war against you, then it shall besiege you. And when the Lord your God gives it into your hand, you shall put all his males to the sword, like the women and the little ones, the livestock and everything else in the city, all its spoil. You shall take as plunder for yourselves. Then you shall enjoy the spoil of your enemies, which the Lord your God has given you. Thus you shall do to all the cities that are very far from you, which are not cities of the nations here. But in the cities of these peoples that the Lord your God is giving you for an inheritance, you shall save alive nothing that breeds, but you shall devote them to complete destruction. The Hittites and the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, as the Lord your God is commanded, that they may not teach you to do according to all their abominable practices that they have done for their gods. And so you sin against the Lord your God. And you besiege the city for a long time, making war against it in order to take it. You shall not destroy its trees by wielding an axe against them. You may eat from them, but you shall not cut them down. Are the trees in the field human, that they should be besieged by you? Only the trees that you know are not trees for food, that you may destroy and cut down. You may build siege works against the city that makes war with you until it falls. If in the land the Lord your God is giving you to possess, someone is found slain, lying in the open country, and is not known who killed him, then your elders and judges shall come in, and you shall measure the distance to the surrounding cities. And the elders of the city that is nearest to the slain man shall take heifer that has never been worked, and that has not pulled a yoke. And the elders of that city shall bring the heifer down to a valley with running water, which is neither plowed nor sown, and shall break the heifer's neck there in the valley. Then the priests, sons of Levi, shall come forward, for the Lord your God has chosen it to minister and to bless in the name of the Lord. And by their word every dispute and every assault shall be settled. And all the elders of that city nearest to the slain man shall wash their hands over to the heifer whose neck was broken in the valley, and they shall testify, our hands did not shed this blood, nor did I see it shed, except atonement for your people Israel, whom you have redeemed. And do not set the guilt of innocent blood in the midst of your people Israel, so that their blood guilt be atoned for. So you shall purge the guilt of innocent blood from your midst, and you do what is right in the sight of the Lord. When you go out to war against your enemies, and the Lord your God gives them into your hand, and you take them captive, and you see among the captives a beautiful woman, and you desire to take her to be your wife, and you bring her home to your house, she shall shave her head and pare her nails, and she shall take off the clothes in which she was captured, and shall remain in your house and lament her father and her mother 4 months. Then after that you may go into her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. But if you no longer delight in her, then you shall let her go where she wants. But you shall not sell her for money, nor shall you treat her as a slave, since you have humiliated her. If a man has 2 wives, the one loved and the other unloved, and both the loved and the unloved have borne children, and if the firstborn son belongs to the unloved, then on the day he assigns his possession as an inheritance to his son, he may not treat the son of the loved as the firstborn in preference to the son of the unloved, who is the firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the firstborn, the son of the unloved, by giving him a double portion of all that he has, for he is the firstfruits of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his. If a man has a stubborn and rebellious son who will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, though they discipline him, who will not listen to them, then his father and mother shall take hold of him and bring him to the elders of the city gate, and the place where he lives. And they shall say to the elders of the city, this our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. Then all the men of the city shall stone him to death with stones, and you shall purge the evil from your midst. And all Israel shall hear and fear. If a man is convicted of crime punishable by death, and he is put to death, and you hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night on the tree, but you shall bury him the same way, for a hanged man is cursed by God. You shall not defile your land that the Lord your God is giving you for an inheritance. Proverbs 1. The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, to know wisdom and instruction, to understand words of insight, to receive instruction in wise deeds, in righteousness, justice, and equity, to give prudence to the simple, knowledge and discretion to the youth. Let the wise hear and increase in learning, and the one who understands obtain guidance. To understand the prophet and the words of the wise and their rulers. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and the instruction. Hear, my son, your father's instruction, and forsake not your mother's wisdom. For they are a graceful garland for your head, and pendants for your neck. My son, as soon as entice you, but do not consent. If they say, come with us, let us lie in wait with love, and who let us ambush the east without reason. Like shoals I swallow them alive, and whole, like those who go down to the pit. We shall find all precious goods, and we shall fill our houses with plunder. Throw our lot among us, then we will have all one purse. My son, do not walk in the way with them. Hold back your foot from their path, for their feet run to you, and they make haste to shed blood. For in vain is the nest spread, in the sight of any bird, but these men lie in wait for their own life. They send ambush for their own lives. Such are the ways of everyone who is grieved for unjustly. They take away the life of its possessors. Wisdom cries aloud in the street, and in the markets she raises her voice. At the head of her noise she cries out. At the entrance of the city gate she speaks. How long, the simple ones, will you love the simple? How long will you scoffers delight in knowledge? And fools hate my fools hate knowledge. If you turn in my reproof, behold, I will pour out my spirit too. I will make my words known to you. Because I have called and refused to listen. And I have stretched out my hand and no one answered you. Because you have ignored all my counsel and would have none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when terror strikes you. When terror strikes you like a sword, and your calamity come like a whirlwind. When distress and anguish come upon you, then they will call upon me, but I will not answer. They will seek me diligently, but they will not find me. And so they hated not, and did not choose the fear of evil. And you would have none of my counsel, and despised all my reproof. Therefore they shall eat the fruit of their way, and have their fill of their own devices. For the simple are killed by their turning away, and the complacency of fools destroys. And whoever listens to me will dwell secure, and will be at ease, without dread or disaster. Psalm 99. The Lord reigns, let the peoples tremble. He sits enthroned upon the cherubim, let the earth quake. The Lord is great in Zion, he is exalted over all people. Let them praise your great and awesome name. Holy is he, the King in his might loves justice. You have established equity, you have executed justice and righteousness and truth. Exalt the Lord our God, worship at his footstool. Holy is he, Moses and Aaron were among his priests. Samuel also was among those who called upon his name. He called to the Lord, and he answered. In the pillar of the cloud he spoke to him, and he kept his testimonies and the statute that he gave him. O Lord our God, you answered them. You are a forgiving God too, but an avenger of their wrongdoings. Exalt the Lord our God, and worship at his holy mountain, for the Lord our God is holy. Now that's done, I shall now do the Lord's Prayer. Raise by your heads. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and give us our debts as we have forgiven our debtors. Please not lead us to temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.